Want a chance to win at over $3,000 in prizes? It's free. Go to the Paddle and Fin Facebook page, fill out our Spring Madness bracket. We got matches between all the hosts here at Paddle and Fin, and we added Josh Smith from the Dark Waters Kayak Fishing Podcast. We're going to battle it out. Live streams will be every Sunday, so you could follow along on your bracket to see how you're doing every Sunday morning between 8 and noon, your local time, and the top 7 places of the brackets are going to have a chance at huge prizes. We got Orion coolers, Ketch Products, Never Lost Tethers, Flip It ID holders, Angler Button, a chance at a Black Pack or a Chinook PFD, $50 gift card to South Mountain Media, TRC Covers, Boss Buffs. We got a Rack Net, Yak Gadget, RoboHawk, Biz Baits, Wicked Weights, She Angler Custom Baits. I mean, guys, the list is long. Go fill out your bracket. Either send it in to the Paddle and Fin Facebook page or email it to paddle, the letter N, and fin at gmail.com for your chance to win today.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
You're listening to The Reel Down, sponsored by Ketch Photo Release Tournaments. This is your premier tournament source. Here are your hosts, Sam Jones and Dan Perry. Welcome back. You're listening to The Reel Down on Paddle and Fin. We have a epic guest lined up for you tonight. You may have heard this name before. Maybe you've seen this face once or twice. Mr. Scott Beutjer in the house.
What up, Paddle and Fin audience?
Scott who? Scott who?
Beutjer.
I'm loving it, man. We got like the crew on deck. I got like half the Paddle and Fin interviewers.
No, this is like
the good ones at least.
This is like less than a quarter, but yeah, you got the good ones for sure.
Yeah. So calling out some. So
step up, boys and girls.
The good ones are Dan Perry, Brian Schiller,
what up,
and myself, Sam Jones. So
Sam who?
Yeah, Sam Jones. Anyway, enough about us, and to our one of our favorite other podcasters in the kayak fishing realm, Scott Beutjer. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks so much, Sam. Man, you reached out to me a couple days ago, and when can we do this? Obviously, my world stays relatively busy with doing the shows and trying to keep, doing all that I can do, quite frankly, to keep growing the sport and keep kind of, promoting, what these anglers are doing and what this sport is and what this community is about. That's, I dedicated my life to this, about 2 years ago now. And as a matter of fact, last week, 2 years ago. And it's been, it's been a roller coaster, man. And I've been amazingly blessed to stay extremely busy, and even in the times now with everything going on in the community, or in the globe, in the world right now with this virus and everything that's going on, we found a way to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? And it's, so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of how hard, the myself and the team around me, have worked. It's been fun, man, so far.
Absolutely. And I know we've had many conversations. Me and you were kind of on similar paths. You started it a little bit sooner than I did, and you were someone that I reached out to for advice when I was not sure if I wanted to take this leap or not, or if I could, or if I should. And, I'll never forget the advice you gave me on the phone that night. But, it's been awesome to see the progression of your story as you're telling everyone else's story. Not often do people get to hear what's going on with you because you're so busy telling everybody else, what's going on in the community and in the sport and with these anglers. So I think it's going to be fun opportunity to quickly kind of talk to you about what's going on in your life, and then talk about this awesome new tournament series you've launched here lately. So.
Yeah, man, we're doing well, man. My life is utterly full of blessings, dude. I've got a smoking hot wife who I love more than anything on the planet, and she's a stay-at-home mom, has been for years now. And so she's been home with the babies. You know, the kids, you know, they completely have school's not even, you know, we've got 3 toddlers. So my first grader's not even going, you know, they're just done. I mean, they're doing, you know, she's doing homeschool at home.
Yeah.
You know, when, you know, as best she can. He even told her last week, he was like, you know, you're not a very good teacher, Mom. And it's like, you're 7. I'm like, bro, like, I mean, he's not wrong, but like, you know, but don't tell her that, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
learn some couth, you know? But anyway, and then, you know, so I think the biggest thing there, man, is for us, I've kind of played gopher. I mean, quite frankly, my grandmother, a lot of people don't realize my grandmother lives with us. She has her own little downstairs apartment here in our home. And she lives with us, and she's in her 70s. And then my wife, a lot of people don't realize, because I don't, you know, because again, I don't, you know, really talk about it a lot, but my wife's a heart patient. She takes heart medication daily. And so, you know, I really have 2 high risks in my home.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've, you know, we really have kind of kept the 5 of them under this roof and in our yard for the last 40 days or so now, something like that. And so, you know, like, you know, yesterday, you know, I had to run to Atlanta and have a meeting and do some different things. And, you know, today I had to run a couple errands. So, I make the trips to the grocery store, I try to do the best that we can, but I don't know, man. It's been a blessing. It gives us the ability to have that time. You know, I don't have to worry about what show I schedule or who I'm taking, what interview I'm doing, or what time I'm doing a meeting, or how late I got to stay up for notes, because my wife's the other half handling everything else in the home so that I can handle what I need to handle for the business. And quite frankly, we now own and operate 2 small companies. Between Snap Sky Photography and Scott Beutjer Fishing. I've got Scott Beutjer Fishing licensed as a media company. It's just titled Scott Beutjer Fishing, but I do. This morning I did a full photo shoot with a kayak company. With some new product that they don't have out yet. And I got to get out in the water and and be around and have some of their elite guys, some of their staff, out there on the water and stuff like that. And that's that stuff, quite frankly, I don't talk about a lot publicly. Quite frankly, I'm making a living, but I'm making a living with my skill set, which is, at the core is with a camera in my hand. That's at the core of everything I am is an artist, as a photographer, as a videographer. That's the backbone of who I am. That's how I've kicked doors in this industry is with that type of, what I've done my entire life. I knew I wasn't good enough to get in here and compete, with Corey Dreyer and Josh Stewart, Jody Queen. Like I can't compete with those guys. There's 0% chance I can compete with Dan and Brian, as a podcast, as a host. So it's like, you got to do what you can do. So I still have to run the camera, you know what I mean? But it's fun, man. I got no complaints, dude. I get to fish, I'm going Monday with a legend in the space to fish all day. And and I'm like, dude, people would rip their arm off, you know what I mean? Or, people easily would give up a pinky toe to go do some of the stuff I get to go do. So dude, it's a blessing.
Right now, dude. I'll send you 2 right now. You just want pinky toes?
Exactly. Pinky toes, you don't even need that toe. Now the big toe, that's your balance toe.
Yeah.
That pinky toe, bro. Dude, yeah.
So one thing I wanted to know, if you've been in this 2 years now, I've never heard the story. Why did you get out of firefighting? I know you were in the service, and we all here at Paddle and Fin appreciate that. But why did you get out?
I'll give you the quickest version I can. I did 12 years at the fire department, man, 12 years, and I'm very outspoken in everything that I do in life. It's who I am. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. It's in me. I don't know how to shut it off. I'm very passionate, and I'm very vocal. Hence, that's why I'm successful in with a microphone in front of me. But 12 years, and about 6 weeks before I was fired, I had been written up one time in 12 years, and I called a meeting. There was some stuff that went out in the newspaper in my local community that wasn't true. So I scheduled a meeting with our top level, county commission officer and our 2 fire chiefs. And I went in with 3 folders, 20 written out, typed out questions as a taxpayer, as a firefighter, all those questions. And 16 of those questions either would not or could not get answered in that meeting. 6 weeks later, I had been written up 4 times. It was turned and was asked to go home. So I just, ultimately I became a bad fireman the last 8 weeks, 6 weeks of my career is ultimately what it came down to. No, man, county politics, man. And in all honesty, like, that's a sour taste, but it's also a bigger sign from the big man. I'm a very, very loyal human being, like, to where, like, it will hurt me and hurt my wife. And my wife's a preacher's daughter. So it's polar opposite. She trusts nobody because she grew up in the congregation, and everyone will throw you to the wolves if, the preacher's daughter did it too. You know what I mean? So my wife trusts nobody. As to where I'm the opposite, man. I trust everybody. I think everybody should be your best friend. Like, I live in a fantasy world of rainbows and unicorns. You know what I mean? And so we're very yin and yang in that. But at the end of the day, man, I would not have left the fire department ever. I would have been there thinking I could fix things, and I wouldn't have found this. Straight up, 100%. The only way that my life was going to change was for God to kick me out that door. And so I blame them, this or whatever. I'm not innocent. There's things I did wrong, you know what I mean? Whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not a fireman anymore over politics. And now, 2 years after, it's almost been 3 years since I was asked to leave. And you're talking about a big part of my life, man. I mean, I've got a big old, I met me and my wife, I proposed in the bay of the firehouse. Like, the first time I told her I loved her was in the parking lot. Like, that was my life, man. 12 years, bro. And I enjoy helping people, man. I like serving. I like taking care of other people. I like problem solving. I like the pressure, of a wreck on the interstate with cars whipping by in the middle of the night, and you're running jaws, or you're cutting open the roof, or you're training for, this, or you're running in a house fire. I've 12 years, man. I've done it all. I've done all that.
Even before that, being it seems like these little parts of your life where you were a Marine, you were firefighter, and now you're doing this, and they're so different. Like, you're Marine. I've never heard you talk about that either. Like, what?
Well, and you really won't. I don't talk about that much. Even in my private life, that's just something that that was a different time in my life. And it's just not something that I talk about a lot. It's why you've never heard me talk about it. No offense to folks that can talk about it, no folks that, whatnot, but I did my time. I transitioned to a more public safety position, and I enjoyed my time, man. I made some great friends in the Corps. I got some phenomenal brothers. I still, I'm tatted up with it. It's not leaving me. But that part of my life, I don't talk on much.
Yeah, it's yours.
But as far as doing different things, man, I'm a big believer in the big man. Like, I'm not trying to preach to nobody, but I think in all of your lives, I mean, all 3 of you guys have, you've everything that you've done has led you to where you're sitting right now. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever. And I just am a bigger believer that those things are connected more than we really discuss. And especially as men, as alpha males in a space, like, guys you're not supposed to talk about that kind of, you're not supposed to talk about your feeling and this, that. And I don't believe in that at all. I think you should talk about everything, for the most part, other than, but I do, and I have that conversation privately, with my circle, but, not publicly.
Yeah.
Right. I feel it. I mean, like I said before, me and you have had many of those conversations late at night and early in the morning and throughout the day. And
I like our private talks.
I do too. Now we gotta save some of that for after hours. Scott's already requested to come on the after hours episode.
Yeah, how have I not been invited on that? Are y'all scared of my vulgarness? Y'all know I cuss.
No.
Like, people don't realize that, right?
There's power. There's power in that beard, man. We're a little scared of her.
Quite honestly, man, I'm not a fireman anymore. Like, the short answer is I don't want to shave anymore. Like, I told my wife when I left, like, I shaved for 20 years for the government. I will never shave again.
Right.
I love it.
So let's talk. You wear a lot of hats. We've already discovered
I wear
that.
one hat.
Yeah.
I wear one
Always
hat.
Westbrook.
The Westbrook hat all the time. But go ahead.
True. All right. So, but you do a lot of different things, and maybe a little over a year ago you were a tournament director for the first time. Maybe not even that.
Was it? I mean, realistically, the first tournament I was tournament director of was last year up on Lake Lanier.
Yeah, no, didn't you do another one though? I'm trying to think back, or maybe you just helped with.
No, I've helped a lot of things, and I would even say
Kayak?
as tournament director for the Lanier one, like I really just kind of filled in Chad's spot. I still to this day, like I don't consider myself a tournament director. Like
But you're labeled as a tournament director in KBF.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it this year in the Southeast. As a way to help out. I've got a lot of ears and I've built a lot of trust. Quite honestly,
yeah,
I'm proud of that. And if that sounds like I'm being boastful, my apologies, guys, for you guys listening at home. But I'm proud of being who I say I'm going to be my entire career in this space with every single human being. And I think that at the end of the day, you're going to have to answer for what you say and what you do and whose hands you shake and how those things come to true. And there's a lot of backstories in this community, man. There's a lot of history in this space for this to be as young as it is. And quite honestly, when you start mixing money, pride, ego, respect, like, feelings get hurt, man. And again, at the end of the day, like, it's like people don't talk about what's really going. I mean, like, it's easy to they took money here, or they did this, or they didn't share this post, or they didn't like that, or like, you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, it comes back to one of those four. It's hard to put those aside, man. It's hard. I fight it all the time. On the flip side of that, it is so ingrained in me to be very selfish, very, it's very easy for, like, I don't get mad at people for at a distance going, I don't like that guy, he's arrogant, he's full of himself, because I'm confident. And I get it, but it's been that way my whole life. I promise you, as a teenager, as a young kid, as a young adult, as a young Marine, as a young fireman, everywhere I've gone in my life, people have been like, that a-hole, or that guy, because I'm not scared to be the leader. I don't have to be the leader, but I'm not scared to be the leader. And when you have that type of confidence, it's easy just to be labeled that way. So my whole life I've been labeled that. So I'm good with it. Like, I very few people.
Hello.
Walton Doyle, I'll have to call you later. That's my Lion King ringtone. I need to put that on vibrate. Sorry for that distraction. Hakuna Matata, you were laughing at my shirt earlier, but Lion King, like, bro, I'm all about that Lion King life. Y'all don't understand. I'm from the streets. I'm hard. Gangster. Like, you guys don't know about no Lion King.
Word on the street is your favorite. Word on the street, your favorite movies, The Notebooks. That's pretty
not
hard,
word
bro.
on the street, bro. I said that publicly in an interview with Matt Fishing Dad. I got the book behind me. I ain't got no shame in my game. It's a phenomenal read. Nicholas Sparks killed that book. Rachel McAdams in that movie is still making my heart flutter. Like,
all right.
Get me. Yeah.
Pause. Dan, favorite chick flick of all time. Go.
Favorite chick flick?
Of all time.
Man, I don't know.
Come on. All right, we're going to come back to you. Think about it.
He's so hard, he was thinking Rambo.
I know you got one. Favorite chick flick of all time.
Mine's the same as Scott's.
Okay.
So all right. Good.
I respect that.
The dude was so loyal, bro. Built a house, had a whole other relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it speaks to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Wrote out a pallet wood. Oh, yeah. It was good. Dan, we're coming back to you, man. You're on the spot. Favorite chick flick all time.
I still
Wow.
don't know. I mean,
All
I'll,
right.
I'll watch them. I'm not trying to be hard. I just can't think of one. Right.
Okay. All right. All right.
I like them all.
It's
I'm
probably
not-
that socks hat's making you so hard.
Yeah.
All right. So mine, you ready? I do like the notebook.
This took a hard turn, guys.
I'll put that
It
one up
did.
there.
It
We
did.
did. We're all emotional in our feelings tonight. It's
Look
okay.
what you did, Walton.
Yeah. So You Got Mel. That's my favorite one of all time.
That's a good one, dude. That's a
good.
good
That's
one.
good.
And Tom Hanks.
Good.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks,
Dude,
Meg,
Tom Hanks.
you get
bro.
those two together, it's
Dude,
great.
Tom Hanks, dude, yeah. Sleep in Seattle. I mean, you
Oh,
got
yeah.
Mel. I mean, come on
Even
now.
Castaway. He like loved his.
Okay, that's not a chick flick, but
Yeah,
all right,
but-
we'll roll with it.
I mean, he loved Wilson, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
He did.
out a long
Okay.
time. Like there was.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
they didn't show that in the movie, but he loved
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He did.
like dude, that's
Well-
a long time, bro.
Wilson
didn't
was
show
much
the
more
fact-
than a soccer ball. Oh goodness.
What
Okay.
were we talking about before Walton called me?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
not important.
We
Thanks,
totally,
Walton Doyle.
Yes. Shout out to Walton. Hashtag WD. Anyway, I'm totally off track now. So you as a tournament director,
Yeah,
you don't necessarily consider yourself a tournament director.
correct.
But you are kind of taking on that role a little bit with this new series that you just put out, in partnership with a few different brands, and we'll let you kind of talk about that. But it's kind of taken the kayak world by storm. I don't even know it is right now, and some of that could be because of what's going on in the
Zero
world.
competition right now.
Yeah,
So the stakes
so-
are really low. The standards
They are.
really low.
And I do want to know if, you guys had like some advanced knowledge that was given to you that this was all going to go down, and you drummed this up really quick. But
Yeah, so-
go
Have they
ahead.
given you the
Theory.
timeline? Do you know the timeline of how this broke down?
I don't know
Yeah,
the
I don't either.
timeline, and I
was
got to be
curious about
honest.
that.
So the first event that happened, let me pull, see if I can. I don't even know if I have that graphic. I mean, I know that I do somewhere.
It was 2 weeks ago, I
But
think.
the first event, I just want to make sure that I have all my names right. Here it is. So the first event that happened 2 Saturdays ago now on 4/4.
Josh Stewart, Jamie Broad, Jody Queen, Derek Brundle, Casey Reed.
Correct. So that first event happened on Saturday. The Sunday prior to that, so 6 days, right? I woke up at 4 a.m. with a dream about this event, like real talk. And like just I was racking my brain. We had been sitting at home for 2 weeks, nothing going on. We just knew things were canceled. We didn't know how long it was going to go. And I knew that I had the platform. I knew that I had the voice. I knew I had the storytelling. And I knew I had enough anglers' trust to blindly follow me into this, like straight up.
Right.
And so on Sunday, I made a phone call to Jeff Parnell, president and CEO of Fish USA. And I said, I got an idea. Now, they're not new to this. I do this about 4 times a day. And I said, I got an idea. He goes, all right, Scott, let me hear it, man. It's Sunday. What do you need? What do you got? So I pitched him the idea, laid it all out. He gets Doug. Doug's his right-hand man, right? Doug's one of my good friends from Fish USA. And I lay it out for Doug. Doug says, I like it. When can we do it? I said, Saturday. He goes, huh? I was like, yeah, bro. I was like, I can pull it off Saturday. So Monday morning, I hit all these anglers. And I said, hey, what are you doing Saturday? I said, if I put $1,000 on the line, you want to fish for 2 hours? What? I was like, yeah. It was like, how much? I was like, I'll do it without you paying anything. I was like, just if you just tell me you're in, I'll figure the rest out. On Tuesday, we built graphics. Shout out Fletch and the team over at Westbrook. He does a phenomenal job. He helps me out. We collaborate on all kinds of things, but the dude's a whiz. And we built graphics. We called all the companies. We got all the companies to buy in, and we laid out the format of what it is, how it's going to be done. We started testing. That week I had Casey and Derek and Jody and Jamie and Matt and Josh. They were all hitting spots and testing signal strengths. We're not dialed in. We're nowhere near, but I mean, that first event was literally from the thought of it to all the graphics, and we pulled it off on Saturday, was less than 6 full days.
Wow.
And we haven't let off the gas pedal. On Tuesday, after the first event, we launched event number 2 with the graphic and all the guys. And then at the end of week 2, so 13 days after the thought of the event, we had week 2 done. We launched week 3, which is the guys that are up this Saturday. And now we've kind of let the cat out of the bag. Like, again, this is kind of grown. When I first sold it, we sold 2 events. Like, I'm not a guy that wants to overpromise, oversell. Again, man, right? You know, the same that you treat anglers to keep that respect, treat your companies that same way. At the end of the day, this is business. So I only sold 2 events in the beginning to say, hey, let's try this. There's nothing else going on. If I fall on my face and fail, hey, I fall on my face and fail. I'll get back up. I ain't scared to fail. Like, Sam, we had that conversation. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do anything in life, you got to jump. It's scary as hell, but if you want that fly, if you want that view of the world around you on that smooth ride down, to do that, you got to jump. And quite frankly, we jumped. And so once Derek won the first one, I was like, okay, I can do this. Let's add 3 more. And then I was like, let's add a championship. Like, nobody knew. Like, I mean, even the first 5 guys didn't even know, like, they didn't know there was going to be a championship because I didn't know. And now it's evolved. Now we're a little bit less than 3 weeks into it, to where there's a phase 2 and a phase 3 that are in the works, and I'm pumped. Like this is, I don't believe that this is this is not just a as I call it, Rona. Sorry that anybody is offended that actually has this disease, but in my redneck intellect, I call it the Rona. Yeah. And I don't believe that this is just going to be a sideshow of the Rona. I've already had very exclusive conversations with companies and people that do live broadcasting for a living, that are fired up. We have not had a single company say no to us yet.
That's great.
So we're onto something here. What we're doing right now is it the greatest show on the planet? Absolutely not. But right now it's live fishing in a world where there is none.
Yeah.
And we're getting better. We're learning more. We're going to get better. You know, quite frankly, these guys are going off of cell phones. But as a fan, I love the dynamic that these guys are now putting that much more on their plate. It's hard enough to catch 5 fish in a regular tournament series. Now you have to make sure that you're broadcasting. You have to make sure that you're answering my questions. You have to make sure that you're doing this. Oh, yeah. And you got to do it in 2 hours.
Yeah. So I have a question about the 2-hour thing. Is that something, do you see that being expanded, or is that element what makes it so great?
I think the 2 hours makes it phenomenal. I think it makes it consumable. I think it makes it a pressure cooker unlike anything else. I think that there's potential, and maybe you'll see it, where there's a period, like a period 1 and a period 2, maybe a period 3 in the same day. I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of different things. Our phase 2 and our phase 3, I think are really, really legitimate. What I love about it is that the anglers win. They're not having to pay nothing. Like, we're allowing them and their companies to represent each other and do those things. We're asking the companies to carry that financial burden. You know, quite frankly, we're not, every single guy we've put on is quite frankly is a hammer. Yeah. I mean, a hammer.
Absolutely.
These guys have put in their time, and I've seen the post. Casey Reed had a phenomenal post with 150 comments or whatever. I've read every one of them, and there's a lot of amazing suggestions and thoughts in there. I'm not gonna sit here and be like we've had all those, but we've had a lot, and this has been since that Sunday morning when I woke up at 4 a.m. 5 Live has literally been the number one thing in the front of my brain ever since. How do we do this? How do we do that? Well, how does the butterfly effect? You guys are familiar. Like, how does what happens over here affect over here? And so we've got some twists.
Kutcher movie of all time.
That's another good movie.
It is. It's a great movie.
Yeah. But so it's going to be very interesting to see how this stuff plays out. There's already twists coming that I can't even like just in like with what we've got now that's coming over the next couple weeks. There's already twists now that I'm telling you right now, Brian especially, whenever this stuff goes out, Brian's gonna text me. He's gonna get my DM. He's gonna be like, what the like how did you think of that? You know what I mean? Because I know how Brian's brain works too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
We're gonna. This is built as a show. Like that's the thing. Above everything here, and that's what I tell the anglers when you sign up. Like the number one priority here, gentlemen, is that we're putting on a show.
Yeah.
The tournament and the $1,000 is secondary. If you can't sign up to be with that, then don't sign up. Because I got a list of dudes in my DM right now that want to be a part of this.
Everybody does.
I got an idea for you.
Look, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna try and show out on the Paddle and Fin Live tournament.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, he did good. Maybe I should bring him on.
Dude, you guys don't even have a chance. You might as well forfeit now, bro.
Bro, I'm not talking about catching fish, man. I'm just gonna entertain. I'm gonna entertain.
Well, dude, I'm planning on dancing a jig on the front porch of my Blue Sky, bro.
Dude,
I mean, that's entertaining.
The only reason
you're in this tournament is because you wrote the rules. Had we wrote the rules,
Oh,
that
God.
vote
Look, wait a minute.
would not have been allowed.
Before this goes a hard left, listen here.
Okay. All right.
What was the last, and I ain't throwing no shade. I love him to death. He's a phenomenal guy. What was the last tournament G-Man won?
He won Angler of the Year in 2017, right?
Yeah, that
But
was
tournament.
Gerald Swindle?
Yeah.
Angler of the Year 2017. Do some Googling, Sam.
Maybe it's 16. 16.
I'll find.
I'm asking. I don't know. I'm asking.
It was 17.
The point, but I know the point you're making, right? Like, who is the most recognizable? Who are a couple of the most recognizable people in the sport? It's Ike and it's Swindle. And even if they'd never won a tournament, it would still be Ike and it would be Swindle. They just flat out have
It's a personality. It's something
entertainer in them.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you really can't teach.
James Watson worldwide, he's had a terrible year, but he's probably more popular than ever.
I don't know that he actually fishes, to be honest with you.
Just table rope.
Dude, we will call James right now and he will cuss you out. I've got his number. He's a good friend of mine. What I love about James is James gets away with James M.F. Watson. Like, that's his title. Like, who else gets to get away with that? I would love to be Scott M.F.
Very Ron Artest-like.
What?
I mean, it's just,
Bro, it's gnarly.
Man, it's Mecca World Peace or whatever it is.
Yeah, very Ron Artest.
Anyway, but what I'm saying with all of that is at the end of the day, this is a show. And that's what we're putting on here. It's a platform. It's an opportunity to entertain. Quite honestly, it's an opportunity for these 25 guys, because now we're doing 5 events, 5 guys, for these 25 guys to go to that next step. And quite honestly, when I get the technology, whether it's something that we go out and invest or whether or not a company invests, or there's lots of conversations, but it's coming. But when we have the technology to where I have control in my studio of camera A and camera B on your boat, and I can switch back and forth, and I can have the 5 view on my screen, and I can show what you're casting to. And then when you hit the hook set, I can switch to your front camera, or I can jump to this guy over here. Like, that's what's coming.
Right.
Wow.
And even in the boat world, like, this isn't 5 live kayak fishing. Like, you got like 5 live is 5 fish live. It ain't nothing about the anglers. It's 5 fish live.
Yeah.
There's
some insights for you people right there. Dropping
There's some hints.
Speaking of Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those guys are sitting at home in the spring on their hands. You know how many phone calls I've had from Elite Series pros, MLF pros, friends, like guys that, friends that got my number from one of the other friends that have hit me up because they're sitting at home on their hands and their company, their sponsor wants a part of this.
When are we gonna see B-Lad in this?
Dang, all types of hints dropping right now, dude. Wow. I'm telling you what, this episode's about to explode.
That right now the technology that we're doing, and again, we did the first one in less than 6 days, straight up. The technology is not where it needs to be, but it's getting there, it's growing there, and as soon as I take this first 6, which we're doing almost back to back, and we take that data and we're able to show a bigger company or a bigger conglomerate or a television network that, hey, this is what we can do, guys. I believe that we've tapped into something here that is fully marketable. It's easy to consume. It's understandable. And quite frankly, the 25 human beings that we put on it, when we get to that level, when I get to phase 3, those 25 folks, people will hate it or not hate it or whatever, but people will call it arrogant. People will call it pompous. But those 25 folks are going to be the highest profile 25 guys in kayaks in the world. I promise you I make that happen.
Is that field set? Have you already gone through and done that calculation?
No, we've got 2 mathematical ways of doing it that we're discussing now. And quite honestly, when we get to phase 3, those 25 anglers will be hand invited, and we'll have 48 hours to accept that invitation because it's a whole nother set of rules than what this is.
Yeah.
And so they will sign NDAs. And when we make that invitation, realistically, this is the end of the summer. Nice. Just being real. This is the first time I've ever talked about this.
Exclusives right here.
But it will be the end of this summer. We will send out 25 invitations. They will have 48 hours to accept the rules and understand what the process is going to be. And then, quite frankly, they're not going to be allowed to talk about it. You won't know who those 25 guys are. Even when we announce the series, you're not going to know. Because it's a show. Because we're marketing. Because it's bigger than just a tournament. I'm not asking for these guys money, but I'm asking for these guys trust, which to me is more valuable. Does that make sense?
It's huge. And it's exciting to watch now. So to think about it in its evolution is going to be, obviously we're fans of it. And we'll talk about this a little bit towards the end, but we've kind of put out a tournament that adopted a lot of the things that you're doing with 5 Live here at Paddle and Fin. And the bracket.
Y'all added the bracket, which is a whole nother layer.
Yeah. So, and we'll get into that. And I don't want to make this episode about that. It's about you and what you're doing here with 5 Live. But just to say that, we're obviously fans of it. We're excited about it. And I think a lot of other people are too. One thing that I have seen in some of the comments, though, and I'm curious, and you mentioned MLF, is how is it going to be different? How are you going to make this bigger or better or different than MLF? Is that even on your radar?
Is that on anybody's radar? No offense, I love Jody Queen. He's one of my best friends. How am I going to make Jody Queen bigger than Mike Iaconelli? It's just not. We're years from that.
Sure.
For me, I have been very vocal in everything I've ever done. I am a fan of this community above everything to this day. And I'm pretty deep in this community now. With the guys in the tournament series and with the guys in the offices making decisions. I have worked very hard, and I'm very proud of having those relationships with both entities. I believe very few guys can do that. And I've been blessed that I'm one of those guys. So I'm taking advantage of that. But I'm taking advantage of that for the anglers as best as humanly possible. And I believe that and I've said this before in other interviews, so I don't want to dive in this too far, but if we're going to get that $1 million check to an angler or even to a tournament series, to me, that's the next plateau. We get the first $1 million check from a Walmart, a Geico, a State Farm, a Toyota,
Lucas Oil,
whatever, right? That company, what you have to get that check is a fan base for that company to sell products to. So what we have got to do as a community is learn and educate each other as best we can, and learn from these other pros, learn from these other companies how to be a professional.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, and I'll put all the cards on the street. I stood right there with a camera in my hand on the at the edge of the Bassmaster Classic stage with 10 of our guys standing on their stage. And no offense to any of those 10 guys, but they've never been through media classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These guys, ask Iaconelli how many lectures he sent through on how to do those things. Now, Iaconelli does it naturally, but a lot of the other guys don't. And some guys are going to naturally be better than others. That's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, you're going to fish. But if you're just going to make a living fishing, like there's a whole nother side to this. So we've got to give, for me, I'm such a fan of all these anglers. I just want everyone else to know why I'm a fan of them, so there's another fan, and then there's another fan. Once we get that fan base, fellas, like to everybody in the community, hello, I promise you, once we get that fan base, those companies and those checks roll in. That's the only thing stopping us. But we have to do that together. And we're a very together community. It's the thing I love the most about what this community is. But we've got a segment that and we've got the doubters and we've got this, but we've got, again, that pride, money, ego, and respect. You've got to check those. If you can't do it, we're gonna lose. Straight up. And if we don't start calling
From the
each
top
other
down.
out,
From the top down.
Absolutely 100%. But just because there's a guy above you and he isn't doing it right doesn't mean that you don't have to be disrespectful. And and I had this. I'm a natural leader because I take long strides. I don't necessarily want to get out in front of you, but I can promise you this: if we get in a circle and we're all working together, and eventually I'm taking my steps longer than you do. Eventually, those other 8 guys around it, because I'm taking care of them. That's what a leader is. A leader isn't about none of my best Marine Corps, fire department. The leader is the guy that eats last, that goes to sleep last, the guy that's up first, the guy that takes care of everybody else. Does that make sense? Yeah. And when you're if you're going to lead people, you got to feed people and teach people to feed themselves. I in 2 years have figured out how to, and I'm not doing it the way that these other guys do, and not everybody's going to do it my way, but find what you can do and maximize it. We're not all supposed to do the same thing. Sam, me and you had that same conversation, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like find what you're supposed to do and go do it. Derek Brundle, gentlemen, Derek Brundle is built to be in front of a camera.
He is killing people up there.
Bro, he loses it. He's so charismatic, and he is a goofy looking, like Northern Yankee, but
maniac.
Bro, dude, he's phenomenal, man.
Yes.
He's so smooth. He's so confident. And quite frankly, I don't know him before he had cancer and before he almost died. All I know is the Derek Brundle after. But I have to believe that why would he care what anybody thinks? He's faced death harder than half the guys I went through the Marine Corps with. You know what I mean? And so, I got that question a couple weeks ago. You talk about, the Marine Corps and fire department, whatever. I don't let the drama in this space get me. Gentlemen, I ain't trying to be sad story, but I've held babies in car wrecks. I've carried people out of fires. This job is cake, fellas.
Yeah.
I get to fish and take pictures. So I don't care about what somebody makes a meme over here. It ain't bothering me now. Where I do care is that when it was somebody that I trust.
Yeah.
And somebody that I thought was my friend. And that hurts because, again, I trust everybody. We're coming circle back around here. But I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very open book. And I've been hurt in this space a couple times. There's in all seriousness, there's 2 dudes that really kind of that kind of got the knife in me first. And quite frankly, there's three. Quite frankly, they were in this longer. We're doing it when I came in. When I came in, I was asking them questions. How do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? And my steps caught up. Gentlemen, I literally took a phone call less than a year ago from a guy that I love in this space, that I look up to in this space. And it was a 2-hour phone call where, I mean, I was a dog and everything I was doing was wrong.
Mm.
And like, I hung up the phone and was ready to just like give it all up. But at the end of the day, he had years on me, and I'm getting more support and more success from the companies that he's in bed with, that I'm not even in bed with, but those companies see what I'm doing and see that I'm doing it for the right reasons, and finally stop communicating with him to get to me, or, you know, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I literally was told to slow down, that I was overstepping people in this space. Slow down. I'm trying to feed my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
Why slow down because you're not willing to work as hard as I'm willing to work? And that totally comes across as arrogant, this, that, whatever. I'm not challenging anybody. I have not come in this industry and taken from anybody's plate. What I have done, and I have followed guys like Hoover that have put in, and y'all hear Hoover's reference about, you know, plowing the field and whatever. Dude, I'm not in this sport without Hoover. I've got Hoover's book. Like, I found kayak fishing because of Chad Hoover. Straight up. I watched every YouTube video. I downloaded it all. Like, when I first saw him walking across the parade deck at Kentucky Lake at the national championship, I was like, oh my God, that's Chad Hoover. Like, I was a fan. Bro, I can call that dude right now and he'll answer his phone. What's up, buddy? Like, Chad's Chad's not everybody's taste. I get it. But Chad's been good to me.
Yeah.
Chad has plowed the field so that I could come in and now I'm dropping seeds. But I'm not trying to take food off Chad's plate. I'm not asking Chad to feed me. I'll come in and I'll work. I'll bet on me. I'll bet on my shoulders. And when you get those haters, if you ever notice, and it sounds cliche, but you don't ever get told by anybody in life that you're not as good or not as capable by somebody who's doing better than you. Like think about that for real, gentlemen, and anybody listening at home.
Yep.
Like, no one in life puts you down that's doing better than you. So why are we listening to that? And it's so easy, guys. I do it. It's so easy. You can't, bro. You have got to just go. You're gonna fall. It's okay. I get told no. I still get told no all the time. I ask companies for this, that. Like, I got a new idea. Like, it's no.
How many times did Fish USA tell you no this week?
I'm really good with Fish USA right now. I don't tell you no anymore.
Well, you just earlier you
Bad
said
example.
that you gave like
Bad example.
Well, he said he gave like 5
example.
ideas a day. So I mean, I can't assume that they're.
It's a with Fish USA, that's I've been told no a lot. Fish USA really courted me in the for almost a year straight up because I had this hat. And I wouldn't, and I turned them down 3 times straight up. And me, I mean, like, the story's out there. I'm not, but I didn't want to go to Fish USA over because of a checkbook. And that sounds, again, I know how it sounds, guys, but I didn't want to go to Chick-fil-A. I didn't want to go to Fish USA because
You know what he's thinking
because
about.
they were investing in the space.
Yeah.
But when I saw that they were putting their heart where their wallet was, it started to change with me. I'm about human beings. I'm at Fish USA because Jeff and Doug are at Fish USA. The top 2 dogs there. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, nothing against Fish USA as a whatever, but if Jeff and Doug are gone, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm loyal to Yak Attack, and I'm loyal to Bonafide, because of who Luther is. I love Bonafide. I think it's a great boat. But I love Luther way more than I love that piece of plastic. People,
Yeah, but he shook your question last night about the drive.
bro, is that not hint? I have never seen Luther do that. If you guys didn't watch that, like I'm telling y'all right now, the number one question Luther's ever been asked last night was probably the biggest. I don't know if it's a hint or not. I genuinely have no clue. I ain't that in at Bonafide.
Well, look, there's only ever been really one answer to the question.
But he didn't get that answer last night.
You didn't get that answer last night. So, I mean, you only are left to think one thing. So,
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's a big event later on this year. Maybe we'll find out there. Maybe not. Who knows?
I would love to know. I have texted Luther. What do I got to do to be on the inside so that I do know? And I'm not getting that look.
Well, we're both in the same boat, literally and figuratively.
Literally, yeah.
So, yeah.
I know, Sam.
Same boat. Me, Brian, we've all had.
Yeah, everyone here has been in a Bonafide at one point or another.
So.
Now,
two of you have moved on. Two of us have stayed loyal, but you know.
Paddle and Fin fans, the last thing I want to do is you guys to feel like, oh God, Scott's on and he's preaching again. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. Yeah. I'm very real with how I handle things. I try to handle everything like adult. No, not everything is serious. Like I like to cut up. I can, cut up and joke, but when we're talking about what you're doing and how you're doing things, people, guys, everything in life comes back to people. Everything else, all this junk on the wall behind me, all the junk in all the boats, all that stuff, it doesn't mean nothing. People are all that matter, flat out.
Scott, I have a question.
Hit me.
And you kind of talked about this a minute ago. You said Chad plowed the field, and you were a fan of Chad, but I think you could have done this and been successful in almost any space in the entertainment industry. Why kayak fishing? What has got you so immersed? And it's expanding into the other realms, but kayak fishing, why?
You guys.
The people.
100%. I bought a kayak. I bought a feel-free lure 11.5 because Chad told you buy your second boat first in all of his videos. So I saved my money. I bought a $200 I had a $200 paddle in my garage for 4 months before I owned a kayak because I could afford the paddle at the time. Literally. Nice. They buy the best paddle you can afford. That's what Chad says in all of his videos. Mm-hmm. So I had $200. I ordered an Angler Pro. What's the
Pro Ace?
Yeah. The whatever it was. But I ordered an Angler paddle.
Angler Pro.
Yeah. It was like $160. I didn't even own a kayak. Why would you spend $160 on a paddle? But I bought the paddle. I put it up in my garage. I saved my money. I bought a lure 11.5, and I started fishing at home and doing things. I made graphs. I even posted a couple little videos online, like just doing my thing right as a fan. I went and fished Chickamauga 2017 in October. Jody Queen won it. It's my first KBF event. And I didn't know who the hell Jody Queen was. Jody doesn't remember this. But I went and fished that event. Jody won it. We all checked in and there's 50 people there, whatever. And that event was, it was okay. I mean, but I caught one fish. And again, I'm a terrible angler. But we camped out. Me and my best friend Brad, we camped out. We fished. We done all this stuff. And I remember going up to Jody Queen, just amazed at the fish that he had caught. And I was like I asked him, I was like, and he told me, he's like, oh, I do this. And I was like this is what you do? He's like, yeah, me and Brian, and I didn't know who Brian was. Brian's over there. And he's like, yeah, we travel, we fish, this, that, whatever. And he's like, you can find me on Facebook. So I literally, Jody Queen Pro Angler, I went and liked it in the car, before I left the parking lot. And fast forward to National Championship, Kentucky Lake. We showed up, and I had already made friends with Gene and a couple others in the community, Gene Jensen. and I already made friends with you know, I already kind of knew Clint Henderson, had already been rattling off Jim Ware's ear up here. Jim Ware is a legend down here where we're at. He's the river goat. And I had already been up to Rome where he lives and followed him around like a puppy all day, learning and watching him fish and asking questions at all times of day and night. Long story short, we get to the NC, and on the messenger and on the this and on the that, I mean, I saw people running across parking lots to drop off battery chargers, to drop off power poles. One guy lost a seat and somebody had another one. Well, that was when Ken Wood flipped his boat. I didn't know, you know, nobody didn't know. I didn't know who Ken Wood was. All these people had come together to help Ken. I told you guys, I'm about humans, people. And I left that event. That was 3-4 months after I had been fired from the fire department. And I left that event, and I was getting ready to go take a corporate job back home. I was going to come home and shave and, you know, go get a corporate job. Matter of fact, we were late to that event because I went and did an interview where I'd shaved, the October event. I came back from that event, and I straight up, I begged my wife. I said, give me a year. Well, I work aside. I own a photography company, so, you know, we still work. But I said, give me a year to let me figure out this kayak space. I think I can make a living in this space. There's something special about this space. And my wife, being the phenomenal human being that she is, straight up understood that I was lost. Like, I was lost. Like, that was a dark, I mean, 12 years in the fire department, losing your life, not having health insurance for your wife and your kids. Like, my wife was just trying to make sure I wouldn't put a bullet in my own head, which I wouldn't do. But, like, that's, you know, my wife wasn't sure. And I came home and I begged her, and I said, give me a year. And the next year, on the same event at Louisiana, I co-hosted the event with Chad and Gene for the television show.
Hmm.
I love it.
So what's she think of all this now? If we were to ask her that question, if we were to bring her on right now and ask her, what would she say?
She's I mean, we could ask her. I think she's proud. I think that she knows. We've been together 12 years, almost 13. And I think that she knows. She's my biggest fan, biggest supporter. She knows that there's more to this. She's also very protective of me. She knows that I will trust every single person and that I will give them an opportunity to take out of our mouths before I ask for an opportunity to feed us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's where we fight. That's where we argue, because I want to trust everybody, and I want to trust, well, if I do 6-5 lives, I'm just using it as an example. If I do 6-5 lives, or we do this for this company, and or I go do these photos for free, then they'll pay me the next time, right? And I'm willing, because again, I'm willing to bet on me.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, so that's our balance. You know what I mean? She, you know, she's, look, you know, I have those hard times of, look, you know, I've lost a couple friends in this space already, just in the 2 years. And it's painful. But at the same time too, I can't slow down because I'm overstepping somebody. I'm not trying to take anybody's place. I just want to do me. I want the sport to grow. And if I have to grow it so that I can get a paycheck to keep doing it, then I'm willing to put in the work to grow it. So that way no one can say Scott doesn't deserve to be eaten. Because if somebody says that, then I want to give them something. Because if you feel like I'm taking from you, let me help you. Let me give to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you still have the Harley?
It's in the garage. In the garage.
Well,
Yeah, that's it's a custom built bike, man. I built that thing from the ground up, bro. I don't it doesn't run.
On your question, whenever you did your plead the fifth, well, the questions, to me, that kind of became like the barometer of how you're doing. If you still have the Harley, you have the Harley, it's like, I know I'm still doing good. I know
the Harley's paid for.
That's kind of how I took it.
It just sits in the garage. It hasn't. I don't even have a current tag on it, and the battery's dead in it. But it's a custom built. Like, it's my dream bike. You know, I mean, we did everything. You know, it's a complete one of a kind. And That was my life for a long time. I mean, like deep in that life, and I enjoyed it. But man, you guys get it. These little plastic boats, man. Like I don't even ride. Like it. I mean, it's in the garage, and it holds a PFD, so it'll dry off the handlebars. $35,000 PFD dryer.
Good question, Dan. That was a good question. Hey, to circle back to earlier conversation, Gerald Swindle, Bassmaster Angler of the Year, 2004 and 2016. So nice job there, Dan. He has had 18 classic appearances, but he's only had one first place finish.
Not in the classic.
Not in the classic.
Yeah.
He's only had one first place finish in his Bassmaster career. Okay, that's in Bassmaster, where he's back now.
He didn't win anything last year in MLF,
and he's not an MLF, and he never. That was definitely not the platform for him, for his style. He's said that publicly.
He's a showman. He's a personality, and quite frankly, when you take away the big stage, and you're doing it to just a camera like you guys all do here. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't, you have to feed off of that audience. It's almost like a WWE superstar. Like you have to feed off of that audience, right? And Gerald's one of those guys that feeds off of that crowd and feeds off of that energy and that excitement. And you need that big stage, big dreams, big fish, you know what I mean? Type of what Bassmaster does so well and what they're known for. So, I mean, no, I wasn't throwing shade at Swindle by no means. We've talked multiple times. I can't call him a friend yet, but I'm working on that relationship.
Right.
So
no, I agree with you though. Like whether he had won 20 tournaments or no tournaments, our thoughts about him would have been the same.
100%.
As a person, as an angler, and as an entertainer. And you alluded to it earlier, like people just don't understand, fans don't understand, and unfortunately a lot of people in the kayak space don't yet understand how important that side of the business is. And I think people are waking up to it quickly. But it is the biggest part of being a quote unquote professional angler, in my opinion.
What I hope to show in phase 3 of this 5 Live is to take those 25 guys, and those guys almost form a pack of guys that we are going to do everything that we can to educate, mentor, teach, learn from them, let them learn from each other. I want those guys to be able to then go out and multiply what they've learned in that year throughout the rest of the field.
Right.
Quite frankly, again, we're not there yet to where we can guys can take a week off to come sit in on a media week of training. We're not to the point where we're even paying guys just to be our anglers. Do we get there? I don't know. I don't know if Hobie has a list of 100 guys that only fish Hobie, that Hobie pays to fish, if KBF does, if whatever. I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't want to see that. But the problem that we have comes back to the storytelling for the fan base. If you take the NC and you take 800 anglers, we could all do an interview a night over a guy's story and not finish those in a year. So we're going to have to concentrate on a group of guys that are going to be the face of this community. Again, it's tough. You're going to take pride, ego, money, and respect. Everybody, those 25 and everybody else, the other 1,000 people in the space that want to do this, it's going to
there's going to be some hurt feelings.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But we've got to start somewhere. I hope, I'm not saying I can do this. I hope that we can do this together. I'm not Pied Piper in this. I'm just trying to use the respect and the trust that I've earned from these anglers and from their companies to be that mouthpiece, to be that connection point. Does that make sense? To get us, okay, here's the big picture. Because quite frankly, you got to have all the little conversations. You've got to explain to this guy and that guy and that guy Like, you just don't sit down in a meeting. Like, it's a lot. It's just work. It's a full-time job.
I really think with 5 Live and my internet's being spotty here, I think everybody in my neighborhood's on the internet at the same time. But I think your format, and here's why I think it's going to work, is that something Jerry Seinfeld, and it's crazy, but Jerry Seinfeld said not too long ago was format is everything. Like, he has a Seinfeld thing, and then he has like comedian in cars getting coffee.
Yep.
Bassmaster was created to sell magazines. MLF is created to have it on TV.
Yep.
And what you have is internet based. And so I think you're going to be successful. I mean, obviously you have the passion. We've all seen you rise and you know, put everything you have into it. And I'm excited to watch it, man. It's been fun to watch if you haven't watched it already. You know, I think whenever you get the service thing figured out with some GoPros, or you've talked about that, once you get that part figured out, now I don't have to look at crotches quite so much. Dude, I think you're going to kill it. I'm excited.
Here's the thing with that too, guys. So, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. Look at week 2. Look at Brad Case.
Yeah.
4 times the senior of Dylan, and look at what aired. Nothing. Yeah. And Brad Case did the best he could do, but Dylan's 15 years old.
Yeah.
And understands that tech, understands that view. He's been watching those videos for years. He knows what it's supposed to look like. So, guys, as far as, and we're talking about cable and talking about internet, and do any of you guys pay for cable television in your home?
Nope.
Neither do I. So where's the future going, fellas?
Yeah.
Streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. You know, and we've obviously had a lot of those conversations as a team here at Paddle and Fin, and you know, again, we've adopted some of the stuff that you're doing, and we're going to be putting that out there, and because we're fans, you know, of it, and so we want to immerse ourselves in it. And I think what you're doing is great, and I think it's gonna, like Dan said, I think it's gonna take off. It's gonna go really far. I think other people are going to be itching to get into it. I'm talking from brands' perspectives, and get involved. You know, maybe just helping you on the backside of this. I think you're gonna have a lot of people reaching out to you about that as well.
You guys want to know who weeks 4 and 5 are?
Well, yeah.
Can we guess? Tell us if we're right. Because I have a list here that I wrote down because I've been guessing.
Well, you'll be surprised, Brian. I was not invited yet. Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, now I want to know your list. Wait, this just took a whole spin, Brian. I love it.
You want to hear this?
I want to hear your list.
All right.
Hang on. You get no facial expressions out of me. Go ahead.
Dwayne Beatty, Russ Snyders, Matthew Scotch, Ron Champion, Jay Wallen, Cody Milton, Kurt Smits. I would love to see Greg Blanchard in the mix. And maybe I had possibles, but not sure. Dwayne Taff, Drew Gregory, and Christine Fisher.
Okay, I got one obvious question here. You don't have Ken Wood?
Oh, I did have Ken Wood. Yeah, I did. Right there.
No, he's going country music.
I did have Ken Wood. See it? Right there. Boom.
Okay. Interesting. That's you've got, I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, and I watched all the comments the other day, which one of those first 15 that are all public, which one of those guys doesn't deserve to be there? Go ahead, gentlemen. I'll wait.
That doesn't deserve to be there?
Out of the first 15 guys, who doesn't deserve that? Who doesn't deserve
Brian
that?
Just listed off?
No. Out of the 15 guys that have already been on, that have already aired. Oh. Out of Josh Stewart, Jamie Broad, Jody Queen, Derek Brundle, Casey Reed. This week we've got Matt Ball, Corey Dreyer, Jackson Orr, Mel Ash, Dusty Yacker. Who do we have last week? We had Brad Case, Dylan Fuquay,
Mike Elson, Tim Perkins, Jamie Dennison.
Yeah, Tim Perkins, Jamie Dennison, and who am I missing? Mike Elsey.
So your question is, who out of the 15?
Out of those 15
doesn't deserve a spot? That's not, you can't answer that question.
Absolutely. They all do.
Yeah.
I've got a system, and Is it when week 5 goes out? I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be some hurt feelings. But
there's no way for there not to be.
But here's the thing, and here's the thing with that. This 25 isn't my 25 for phase 3.
You didn't tell me yes or no on my list.
You're right. I'm not gonna. That's a fun game, though. I like it.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's cute, Brian, that you thought you were gonna host your own show. I like it.
To be fair, his show is the OG show. This is Dan's show. But,
look, you're a guest on Sam and I show, okay, buddy? Pipe down.
All right. I'll take a back seat for now. Don't
worry, you'll be on his show one day, and you can own him like that.
No, bro. You know it's love. You know it's love.
I know.
It. I just there's some phenomenal anglers. There's some phenomenal stories, and quite frankly, phase 3 of this. The way that I see it now, and I'm not saying it doesn't change, the way that I see it now is 25 guys. And it's big. It's huge risk, huge reward. But it's going to give us the ability to make those 25 guys get a fan base so that the following year and the year after, we can start eating.
Yeah.
We've got to start somewhere.
Can I ask what your system consists of?
For this 25 right now?
Yeah.
The easiest answer I can give you is this is my baby.
Science.
And it's support those that have supported me.
Okay.
That's about the most PC answer I can give.
I like it.
Every one of these guys deserve a spot, and every one of these guys has shown me the same respect that I've shown them.
Yeah.
So I value and I love them. I'm not saying that if you're not on the list that you're not somebody that I love and that I value and that I respect. I'm just saying that, quite frankly, these guys have been guests on my shows. They've commented. We've built relationships based off of trust. They have a good story. I'm building a show here. Again, this isn't. Sure. This is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, totally get it, man.
And I'm not. When you talk about me being a tournament director, I'm not trying to build this as a tournament. I'm not. All cards on the table. I'm building this as a show. And we're gonna have some characters. We're gonna have some storytelling. We're gonna have some drama. We're gonna build it for an audience. Because when we can start getting an audience, we can start getting those checks. It's chicken and egg. So let's start finding a way to lay an egg.
Yeah.
Got the chickens. Let's try to get them to lay.
Love it. Very cool.
What other questions you got? Oh yeah, y'all wanted to know weeks 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, come on.
Let's go.
All right, sweet.
Announce it. This drops tomorrow, Friday morning.
Saturday at noon when week 3 ends, you'll know who week 4 is.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that.
Oh,
I knew you were going to do that.
Wow.
Oh.
All right. We don't want to take the spotlight off the current guys. I get it.
So,
let me ask you this. Who do you think's the favorite for this week?
Bro, so here's the part that I like the most about all this, and it's a little bit like power fuel, right? Mm-hmm. But all these guys call me all week long, and we do these FaceTime sessions with the camera equipment to make sure, try to get these guys on a lake, this, that, whatever. So I get to watch a lot of these guys fish from 10 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the time I have.
Sure.
Every one of these guys can win this week. I didn't feel that way last week. Every one of these guys this week can win this Saturday.
Sam, who you got? Who you got this week? You got to pick.
I don't want to.
It's so hard. These guys are, guys. Corey Dreyer, Matt Ball, legends. OGs. Jackson Orr, what a phenomenal freaking story.
So
Jackson Orr is going to be a name in this space, like he's coming, gentlemen.
Unreal. So Jackson's a
Unreal.
friend, right? You know, he's from Indiana. We've done some stuff together. So I immediately want to pick Jackson.
He gets it.
Yeah, I immediately want to pick him, and I think he's going to be the fan favorite. If you ask for fan favorite of the episode, I think he'll be the fan favorite.
Yep.
The only reason I don't pick Jackson right away is Indiana is going through some crazy stupid weather right now. We had fish on beds, 80 degrees, water temps in the 70s in some of the smaller ponds, and then it was a whole whopping 27 degrees in central Indiana.
Can I throw something in here?
Sure.
When was the last time you talked to Jackson and his dad?
Last week.
Are they in Indiana right now?
Oh, you know what? That's a great point.
Nobody says in this tournament that you got to fish 5 miles from your house.
That's true. So Jackson is probably. I mean, I'm going to be rooting for my boy. Huge kayak bass and all the way. So I'm going to be rooting for Jackson. But it's hard to pick because
I think Mel Ash is one of the most underrated guys in our sport.
Oh,
Mel Ash is a hammer.
Hands down, does not get the
hammer,
respect
bro,
he
and I don't think
deserves.
he gets nowhere near the respect he deserves. Yeah. Dusty,
That's who I'm going with.
Duke said it last week, bro. Duke believes Dusty's the best guy in the sport.
Yep.
Duke put it on the record last week.
I'd agree with that statement.
Like,
He's one of the best.
Bro, I mean, you could almost put him. I mean,
He is the Aaron Martins of kayak, and I believe
that's Russ. I'm friends with Aaron. I know. I've spent time with Aaron. I've spent time with Russ. They are very similar.
But from the persona perspective, the way people view Aaron and the way people view Dusty, I think
how long's Dusty been in the kayak game?
I think it's 4 years, something like that.
In the kayak game, Dusty?
Yeah, he's been kayak fishing for that long.
I think it's longer than that. But anyway, how long's Russ been doing it?
Russ Snyder's?
Short.
Yeah, it's like 2 years, something like that.
He transitioned.
He was God before. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that when the history, when you know as much knowledge in the same amount of time, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's fair.
I'm not taking nothing away from Dusty, but if I'm gonna say Aaron, I think of, now you could say Dusty to me, and as far as, I mean, as a KVD and the wins and what they do, but then when you say that, look at Matt Scotch.
Yeah.
Look at the wins. Look at what he did last year, bro.
Yeah,
the win call, like the number one spot. What was it? 15 events last year. He went first place.
Yep.
Bro, what?
Unreal. Yeah. Unreal.
Gnarly. It's unreal, guys.
Yeah.
This has got to be the longest episode you guys have ever recorded. What questions? Hit me.
I'm going Corey. Yeah.
Going with who?
Corey
Dreyer.
Yeah.
Safe bet.
Cash and stick. I love it.
Yeah. Mel is a native guy, and I think he'll do great. But Corey, I think he's hungry. It's been a while, so.
He took third in Florida at the Invitational.
Yeah.
This would have been a great live. This was something that should have been live broadcasted.
Well,
I'm always good live. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we want to be respectful of your time and let you get back to the family. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. You already have a busy schedule every evening, so it's awesome that you were willing to jump on here and talk to us little guys over here at Paddle and Fin.
Whatever, bro. Sam, dude, you know how much I care about you, bro, on a personal level. You know, you get it. Dude, I thank you so much for the invitation. Bro, please keep them coming. If there's ever an opportunity that I can break away and talk with you guys, we could keep rolling. That's why, I knew, we talked about timing, and I was like, dude, if we start at 9, we'll run till midnight. I'll just will, because there's stuff we haven't even touched on.
There is.
You know what I mean? And I love it. It sounds so corny, man, but I love this community. I love hearing about it. I love studying these guys and what they're doing. And I don't know, man. It gets me jacked up.
I love it.
There you go, listeners. Stay tuned for part 2 coming up.
I like it.
Right on.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Tackle your dreams, fellas.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Right on. Thanks, brother.
All right, everyone. That was none other than the man himself, Scott Beutjer. Probably one of the most recognizable faces in our industry right now. Long overdue to have him on this podcast. You know, our segment particularly, I guess I'm talking about, and our segment's mostly about tournaments and, you know, recapping tournaments and telling the stories of the anglers who are fishing them and the tournament directors that are behind them. But Scott has been doing that same thing for 2 years almost now, or maybe a little over 2 years. So definitely long overdue. And man, did we get some nice little insights and some hints dropped tonight, some little exclusives, I would say, about what he's got working in his brain. And his brain is always working.
Yeah. And I mean, and like you said, Scott's got his hands in so many different things, and, you know, he's got big expectations and high hopes for this. And, you know, we want to see it. We're fans, and it sounds like it's going to be good. He's definitely got the right people fishing, and I'm watching it. I'm hooked. So if you haven't watched it already, watch it.
Yeah. You know, and I've talked to Scott a lot, and we referenced some of that tonight. And what I can tell you about Scott is if he dreams it up and if he thinks about it and he puts his energy behind it, it will happen. It's just, he's one of those guys who just, when he gets excited and passionate about something, he makes it happen and he gets it done. And, you know, he told that story about, you know, he told his wife, give me a year. And a year later, he was hosting, you know, and then he's got this dream of $1 million paycheck for a kayak angler. 5 Live is that he's talking about the seeds he's dropping. 5 Lives is the seed to that. I believe it. Whether it ends up being 5 Live or being something else, I believe that it will grow from what he's doing right now. And he's just proven that to me over the last couple of years. You know, if he gets behind something, he gets it done. So.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. You know, it's kind of funny when I look at Scott, and I know I was pretty quiet on that, man. And I was just taking his experiences in and trying to learn from it, man. That's just kind of the way I operate. But, you know, you think about it, you know, he's only been at it for 2 years, right? And look at how far he's come. And, you know, he's put in a ton of work, man. And he's always coming up with something new and creative, you know, and it's like, you know, sometimes I feel like, man, beat me to the next punch, you know what I mean? Like, and, but at the same time, it's cool, man. And it keeps everybody on their
strides.
Yeah. It keeps everybody on their toes looking for the next best thing, which I think is only going to better our sport down the road. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's cool, man. I love the concept, and obviously we loved it so much. We're kind of taken from his concept, and, you know, the bracket tournament concept, which Dan's fishing in this weekend. Good luck.
Yeah.
Brother.
So let's
smash him.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. We've referenced it quite a few times tonight, but it's quite possible that if you're listening to this, you don't know what we're talking about. It's your first time hearing about it. So let's give everybody the rundown real quick and tell them how they can get involved in this. It's pretty cool. You know, we are we're taking Scott's baby of 5 Live, and we're taking the bracket tournament. And forgive me, Dan, the name of the gentleman
Kayak Bass Bracket Tour.
Yep, Kayak Bass Bracket Tour. We're taking these two event styles and we've kind of merged them into one, which we're calling the Paddle and Fin Spring Madness. It's a live event. We're putting up 11 of the Paddle and Fin hosts, plus we've kind of given a special guest, you know, from the Dark Waters podcast, Mr. Josh Smith, which I think he's going to be great on camera, by the way.
I'm so glad we added him, dude.
Probably the best.
Man.
Yeah, probably the best move we've made. And if you haven't seen his player card, you need to go check that out. If you don't know what the player cards is, we put out graphics for each of the hosts, and some stats about them, and just some general information so that you can have an idea, of the host. So anyway, we got the 11 paddle and fin hosts plus Josh Smith of the Dark Waters Kayak Fishing Podcast. We're putting them head to head in a bracket style tournament. There's going to be a champion bracket, a loser's bracket, and then at the end, the champion will face the top loser from the loser bracket for the ultimate showdown to claim the title of
Angler of the Pod.
Angler of the Pod. Yep, like angler, bullseye.
Angler.
Yep, angler. So shout out to them. But anyway, but all of this, what's great, all of this is going to be broadcasted live. Every single matchup, 4 hours per angler. And since some of these anglers are in different time zones, they'll be up to 6 hours.
No. We put the kibosh on that.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. I
4
missed that.
hours. 4 hours. Yeah, we talked about that on a pod, and I think it was briefly mentioned in the group chat, but we're just going to do 4 straight hours. Because, like when we
8 to 12 Eastern.
8 to 12 Eastern
Okay.
on Sundays.
So 4 hours, which is a ton of time and content. So 4 hours, 8 to 12 Eastern, is when we're going to be broadcasting each of these events live. So there'll be 4 anglers per day that we do this.
Correct.
These are all going to air on Sunday starting this weekend. So it's going to be really cool. You get to interact that way. But on top of that, on top of viewing it and interacting with us through the live broadcast, you can actually get involved by filling out a bracket, just like you would with March Madness and the NCAA. We've put out this bracket, this graphic. We'll have links to it. It's all over Paddle and Fin's Facebook. It's all over every host Facebook page. It's really easy to find. If you can't find it for some reason, send us a message. But you get the bracket, you fill it out, and you got a chance to win
over
thousands.
$3,000 in prizes.
Yeah, over thousands of dollars in prizes, and then they keep racking up. Today we just announced a big partnership and support from Yak Attack, who's going to be providing us with some awesome mounts, or the Portrait Pros that they've put out, with a little custom arm on there to help us get a nice, really good view and angle for everyone. We're going to be giving away one of those that we're using as well. So, I mean, tons of prizes to win, and all you got to do is fill out a bracket and pick me to win it all.
Oh, look at Dan was so upset with that. He dropped off the call.
He couldn't handle the pressure, folks. Man, he couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. What Scott's doing and what he talked about. Oh, he's back. He was messing with you, dude. I said you dropped off the call because Sam said he was gonna win it all.
Oh, man, terrible tonight. Everybody's on the internet at the same time.
Oh, it's all good.
Man.
It's all good. Well, we just talked to Scott. The Live 5 is for the anglers, right? And that's what he talked about. He's giving 5 anglers a chance at a good chunk of change for a couple hours of fishing. Whereas our idea was to go ahead and do ours for those tuning in and viewing, our listeners, our supporters, our brothers and sisters we fish with on the water, man. So that was kind of our way to kind of give back and throw our spin on it. And we've had, there's so many sponsors, like, Scott talked about, they went from a Sunday to a Saturday and they conceived theirs. We went, a week and a half from when we first talked about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We had so many companies step up and like, yeah, we want to be a part of this. How do we help? And things like that. And we reached out to some folks that, some of us work with individually and the podcast as well. And they all stepped up huge and they were like, this is cool. We love it. So it'll be interesting, man. The brackets have been flowing in. It started off slow, but now, like today, I think there was, a good 15, 20 brackets that came in, and it's starting to pick up because we're coming down to the deadline. So,
well, and when all of our tournament fans that listen to this awesome podcast, listen to this episode, they're gonna be like, "Heck, I got to get all over that," and they're gonna submit them left and right. Yeah. So,
and you really do want to do this because this is going to be going a while, and ours isn't going to be like 5 Live because some of ours are going to be a train wreck out on the water. I can guarantee it. There's a chance someone might turtle. Like, I mean,
are you calling
this is
who
not
that's going to be
good? No, not at all. I wouldn't wish that on anybody to lose all their gear. But hey, this isn't going to be like. This is not going to be on the same level as 5 Live.
This is like Bill Dance bloopers version of 5 Live.
Exactly. This is entertainment. This is not like hardcore.
It's gonna be classic. Yeah. I mean, I fell out of my boat I think 3 times last year. I haven't done it yet this year, so it's bound to happen. Probably will happen on live. Well, I'll probably get something caught in my braces, and I'll look really stupid. Like braided line will like fly back, catching my braces. It's something great's gonna happen.
Well, we need like a code word to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going to figure all that out.
Operation Yellow Stream.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at pooping. I usually poop on the kayak in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Operation Browntown.
Browntown. All right.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. I think, Scott touched on that really good, about the entertainment factor. And, there's been a lot of trash talk going on, for these beginning matchups. And let's be honest, we got some characters involved in this, dude. So you're going to see some personalities come out of some folks on the water. And I'm even talking about myself, man. So I think it's going to be really cool and interesting to watch. Very entertaining.
Yeah, we're going to have to put that little M for a mature audience on this broadcast because, it'll definitely get interesting. And what's going to be great is I know that Brian hosting this thing is going to get these guys going at each other. Like,
me and Dan are hosting the first round this weekend.
I know, I'm pumped. I'm so pumped to watch. I'm going to be watching it while I'm on the water, so I'm going to use my Yak Attack mount to put it up so I can watch while I fish.
Well, the weekend I fish, you guys are going to have to take over hosting duties. So,
which weekend is that? I'm marking it on the calendar right now.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. All right, I'm marking it on the calendar right now because I definitely am pumped up to do that. But yeah, dude, this is gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to fish in. And if that's not enough of a reason to fill out a bracket and get involved in this, like, listen to this. I just got to go through this really quick. All right. Biz Baits, Wicked Weights, Arachnet Security Systems, Orion Coolers, Jackson Kayak, She Angler, Flip It Tournament ID Holder, JigMasters, Rocktown, TRC Covers, Ketch Products, South Mountain Media, Angler, and Boss Buffs, and as we announced today, Yak Attack. I mean, somebody's walking home with prizes from all of these great companies. It's nuts. And who knows? There may be more to come.
Totally agree, man.
Maybe.
Yep. So let's call predictions now for round one.
All right,
Milford versus Josh Smith at Dark Waters.
Oh, am I starting?
Yeah.
I'll go. I'm going to go Milford. I was Josh, but I know they shut down New York ramps today. Yeah. So I'm, just that little bit of a wild card in there. I'm going to go over with a Milford.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I like Josh originally too, and I still think I do. But there is that variable. Now, we can fish private water. I don't know if he's got private water or not to fish. But I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna put it on the table. I think Ryan will fold. I think he'll fold. I think he'll get too distracted and he'll fold. I think Josh may be able to stay the course and put some fish in the boat. So I'm gonna pick Josh Smith on that one.
I'm going Milford.
Ooh, 2 for Milford, 1 for Josh.
Milford's going to be rolling in a new rig.
Right.
He's going to have a little bit better weather. And I'm going to give him a prep talk. I got money on this. I got money on this round.
Ooh, money
against
on the table.
JP.
Okay. So second round.
And Josh has been talking so much smack. Like,
yeah,
I love
they
whenever
both
smack
have.
talk gets beat.
They both have been talking so much
Yeah,
smack.
that's true.
So whoever loses is going to be feeling pretty bad. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably the matchup I'm most excited about. And then we have Jason Ricketts.
Yep. And Brad Hicks, both in Ohio. This
is a fun matchup. They're practically neighbors.
Teammates for Loveland Canoe and Kayak.
Exactly.
But neither one tournament guys.
Exactly. Neither one of them are big tournament guys. They both have fished tournaments.
Milford brought up a great point on the live Monday night that Ricketts has been doing a lot of catfishing and he hasn't been doing any bass fishing. Brad Hicks is deathly afraid of exposing one of his river spots, so he's going to a lake. He's normally a river guy, so that's going to put him out of his element.
I'm going Ricketts then. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to the river. He is like so worried about blowing out his spot, and I don't blame him. I mean, they got some high pressure areas out there, and he's got a few honey holes. I think if it comes down to it and he goes the distance in the bracket, you will see him in the river. But I think right now he's playing it safe and he's going to a little lake he found. I don't know what it is. And Ricketts has got kind of the same theory. He's going to a smaller lake that's relatively shallow. So the water's going to be warmer, hold warmer temps. So he's hoping he gets on a decent bite. It's always chocolate milk, so the rain isn't going to affect him. So it'll be interesting.
Well, let's do it. Round table, real quick. Who you got? Dan.
Ricketts.
Brian.
If Brad was fishing, I would say Brad, but since he's not, I'm going Ricketts.
Yeah. I'm going to show a little BSB love. I'm going Ricketts.
Nice. Yeah, I got Ricketts too. So
I think we're all going to be disappointed, honestly. I think Hicks has been pretty tight-lipped, and he's not sharing anything other than one fish he caught out of this spot. And he did hint that somebody caught 2 other really nice fish out of there. I think strategy.
What's the strategy going in? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, what's your guys' strategy when it gets to your matchup? And you two are facing off.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
and that's why I haven't been
I don't know if you heard this explanation, but this was completely random. When we first mentioned it, not this past Monday, the Monday before, I wrote down a list of all the hosts, and I had those that were tuned in to the live name off random numbers 1 through 12, and as they came through, I just wrote them next to the names. So in a typical bracket tournament, and I'm explaining this to Sam because he's not real familiar because he got super frustrated making that bracket.
Oh, yeah.
Usually the number 1 seed and the number 12 seed get paired up. So that's what we did. 1 and 12, 2 and 11, 3 and 10, and so on and so forth down the line. So is this the sheet?
So Sam was a 1 and I was a 12?
I know I was 2 and Eldridge was 11. I do have my note.
Yeah, but these are random numbers. Like they're not actually
it was just
performance or anything like that.
Yeah, no. It had nothing to do with
or
performance.
experience or whatever.
Yeah, it was just a
I just need some
random.
more fuel, you know.
Oh, well, you know, I hate that me and Dan are going against each other in the first round. Obviously, at some point we maybe would have had to. You know, I was gonna, you know, be cheering on the Rail Down host all the way to the end, but you know, we got to face off.
Cheering on one of them too, man.
No,
both of them.
All right.
I'll be 100% honest, man. There's two matchups out of this whole thing in the first round that I have no clue on which way it's going to go. And it's your guys' matchup, and it's Susie and Dusty's. Or Dustin.
Yeah,
Dustin.
Dustin, if I had to pick somebody to win the whole thing, it'd be him. Because he can just, you know, he can go drive to some ridiculous legs.
So I'll let you guys in on a little secret. There was a text message that took place between me and Dustin, and it started because I was like, hey, did you get a phone holder for your camera arm? Because if not, I was going to ship him one from the shop. And he's like, no, yeah, I ordered one on Amazon. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, you know, because I face off, well, I shouldn't say I. Whoever wins from mine and Josh's bracket is going to face off either Dusty or Susie. So I'm already looking ahead.
Dustin, not Dusty Yeager.
I'm saying Dusty. Yeah, I'm sorry. Dustin Nichols. Doo-doo. I'm going to say doo-doo. And I was like, yo, bro, the other day when you were out on the water, how many inches did you get? He's like, like 89 and a half, ... But those were all old pictures, LOL. So
so I knew those were all old pictures because I did a media deck for him, and those are all pictures he sent me. I didn't say anything though. So
I thought they were.
He was wearing something different in every picture. Is the reason I saw it.
The thing with Dustin is, I think he can either come out swinging and just drop an absurd number, or, you know, just something average at best. I think it's one of the, I don't think it's somewhere in the middle with him. I think it's one of the two things.
I think
he's got those places, you know, that he can put up 100+ inches in 4 hours.
I think
in 5 casts.
Yeah.
I think Susie's the same way. Not 100 inches, but like she could come out, just bang out a really nice limit and then maybe upgrade. And I totally agree with you on Dustin as well.
Yeah.
So.
And weather plays a huge part in this. Weather's been really, really weird lately, especially in the Midwest. And so, you know, you guys up north and even here, like I said, we were 80 degrees, and less than a week later, it was 28 degrees last night.
Yeah.
You know, I was catching fish on bed this time last week.
We're supposed to get 4 inches of snow tonight.
4 inches of snow, right? So like these fish don't even know where to go.
Yeah.
In the south is even colder than normal.
I want to move. Trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, I clearly couldn't live there, man.
You told me you had a spare bedroom, right?
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Hey,
Sam knows about it.
I'm moving.
That's
packing
my
bags.
place. That's my place. I already claimed it.
It's all yours.
Yeah. So
shower.
Anyway, we could talk about this forever, and I think this episode's going on like 2 hours already. So, but anyway, guys, the point is get involved in this. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to interact with. And you can walk away. And these aren't slouch. Like, we're not talking like a pack of baits.
Yeah.
We're talking large prizes, over $3,000 in prizes. So get involved. All you got to do is submit a bracket to us. There's no entry fee, anything like that.
The most important part, like you said, it's free. Sign up, win prizes. Why would you not do it? It's going to be fun to follow along.
I've been telling guys I work with, you know, they're like, I sent them the bracket, and they're like, the only guy I know on there is you. And I'm like, so what? Like, fill it out, man. You got a chance at winning some cool stuff, you know?
Yeah. Put it in a randomizer. That's probably your best bet. But, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. So pick Dan to go all the way, or me. You got to pick one of the Real Down hosts. So, you know, Dan's an Alabama stick, though. So you'd be wise to bet for him.
There's been a few W's for both of you chosen, because I've been printing on stacking up all the brackets.
Sam's the big pick right now, right?
I think it's between. I can tell you. We got one for Josh Smith, one for DP, one for Susie, another one for Susie, Dustin Nichols, Ryan Milford, Sam Jones, myself, Brad Hicks, Dustin Nichols, Sam Jones, JP, myself, Sam Jones, myself, and I got a couple more on the printer that I just printed off.
So
I know one of them has Sam Jones on there.
Five. Let's say 5-1 underdog, man. I'm loving it. I'm good.
Hey, bro. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, man, is I think we got some guys that are very underrated that could come out of nowhere. I'm not gonna lie, Josh could put up some huge numbers as a smallmouth against myself.
It's like Dan. People, maybe they look at tournament stats or whatever. You're not going to see Dan's tournament stats. They don't go on Tourney X. You're not going to look back and see his boater history and know his history in Alabama. Anyone. I mean, honestly, anyone that bets me over Dan, you can't make that decision without having all the facts, and you just don't have all the facts about Dan. So I think you talk about a sleeper.
Yeah.
That's nice of you to say.
Well, I'm just being honest.
The same goes for JP, dude. If you look at some of his statistics and what he did last year, he's very underrated too. And he could very well. And you know what's funny is he's going up against Noob 2.0. He's fishing the Susquehanna, man. Like, that's a world-renowned fishery. And he's been very quiet, He could very well pull out. And that's the thing. Anything can happen in 4 hours. We've all had those tournaments where it takes us all day to catch 5 fish.
Yeah.
So
there could be tournaments where it's one fish wins this thing,
Yeah.
And like you're locked down pretty much in Illinois. You're not even allowed to pick your nose. So, you're going to fish the home waters, I'm sure. Which, hey, huge advantage, your fishery, but also sometimes history comes back to bite you,
Yeah, totally.
So, especially in 4 hours. So anyway, nevertheless, it's going to be an awesome tournament. We could talk about it all night long, but we probably should wrap this thing up for the listeners. So anyway, guys, get involved. Check it out. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see this. Check out the new Paddle and Fin buffs. Pretty sweet there.
I put on mine today, and they are super soft, great quality.
Dude, that's
100% polyester microfiber. They're machine washable.
That's the one thing I like about them is, I had a couple last year, man, and it felt like it was choking me out. These are super comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable. They're really stretchy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then they come right back like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
So great buffs. And we got them available. Just shoot us a DM, and we can get them in your hands. So
absolutely.
Our guy last weekend, Greg, good luck to everybody fishing the Kayak Bass Bracket Tour this weekend.
Yes.
Also on Saturday and Sunday, there's 64 people going fishing, so good luck to all of them.
Yep, check that out. Make sure to watch 5 Live. That'll be going on. Scott Beutjer fishing, of course, and Kayak bass fishing. I'm sure we'll be sharing that, as well as Fish USA and Cashin and all those guys. So check out the 5 Live tournament. Go give Scott a follow if you haven't already. Scott Beutjer Fishing. You can find him
if you haven't.
If you haven't already, but check him out. And
good luck in safe fishing, everybody on the water this weekend. Good luck to our anglers, and good luck to you, Dan, in the bracket tournament, man.
Thanks, and me and Brian be talking to everybody Saturday morning, commentating.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. Put in your comments, questions.
Yeah, we're going to try to rattle up these guys while they're on the water, so it's going to be fun.
That's right.
It's going to be fun. Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. See you next time.
PFDs.
Peace.